Hi, and welcome to Polly Puts the Colour On. In this video, I'm going to be completing the Colouring Book Confessions tag, started by the wonderful Shell's Colouring Journey. I'll link her down below, obviously. I was tagged by the lovely Jess from Colouring Bumblebee. Again, I'll add, everybody that I'm mentioning, I'll link them down in the description so you can go and check them out. So thank you very much, Jess, for the tag. These questions look like such a lot of fun. Had me scratching my head a little bit to work out the answers to some of them. Even roped my daughter into her opinion because I was umming and ahhing. For most of the questions, I have managed to stick to just one answer. I think there's just one or two questions where I have put two books, but pretty much I have tried to stick with just one book for each one, and try to avoid repetition as much as possible. I'm going to tag Colouring with Amy, Little Hobby Nook, and Pebbles Adult Colouring. Apologies if you've already been tagged, or if this isn't kind of your cup of tea, feel free to do it, to not do it. Or if you're watching this and you think you'd love to do it, obviously just go for it. Check out Shell's Colouring Journey, her video, because that's got all the questions on. As you can see, I've printed them out and I've jotted some ideas down so that I don't forget where I'm up to, because there's 23 questions. It's quite a lot to remember, so I thought I'd better jot my answers down so that I don't forget. So the first question is the oldest book in your collection. So this was a really easy one to remember. So though I don't date, I've only recently started dating my pages in about, I think it was July, August this year, even though I've been colouring for about 10 years. I do know that this was the very first book that I purchased. I happened to it was a long story, but originally I'd purchased this book off Amazon for a friend at work who was going through a bit of a tough time. She said how much she enjoyed it, how much it was really helping to soothe her mind. I thought, tell you what, I'll give it a go. So I bought the exact same book, so I know it was this one. So you can see from the front cover, I've had it a while. It's a little bit grubby. Completed a fair bit in it, although I think now I'm pretty much at the point where I've done most of the pictures that I like. So I used to just work through in order. Remember this one, really enjoyed it, loved picking out the different colours and just repeating it through. Obviously it took quite a while, but that was fun. Then I've got the elephants. See, I did originally just start working in order and then realised actually that might mean I don't get to my favourite pages. So then I started jumping around a bit. So these are all just completed with just cheap pencils. I do have videos on my channel where I do show kind of all my completed pages from all my Millie Marotta books, as well as a few other artists. So this was the point where this one was done relatively recently, I think, in the last few years. I think I'd got to about, there or here, and then had a few more books in my collection and then started jumping around a bit. So there is a few empty pages. The bit I don't like about Millie Marotta's early books is that there's writing on them. So when I have completed pages, I've kind of tried to cover it over with paint or with washi tape. Like this one I'm never going to do. Some nice bright ones. Again, there's another one there with writing. Like it's a nice picture, but I've got to cover the writing up. So there's a few other pages I might do out of this book, but I think I'm kind of at the point where I'm probably not going to complete many other pages. I do kind of want to do that heron one at some point, I think. These probably not going to do. It's not the most exciting pages, are they? And then we've got these nice colourful ones. Again, there's a lot of, they're pretty enough, but they're just not really my cup of tea. There you can see there was obviously writing. That's why I've covered it over with a bit of washi tape. I do like that rabbit. I think that's quite a pretty one. So I'll try not to take too long because obviously there's a lot of questions, quite a lot of books. This would still be a nice one to do, to be honest, if I wanted something kind of repetitive. Again, probably not going to do those pages. I do like the little mouse, but I can't be bothered with doing the rest of it, so I don't know if I'll ever actually get to that page. So yeah, there's really maybe the shell, the snail, because I do think the shell looks pretty. I just need to cover the writing up. yeah, there's not many others that I'm really thinking, yeah, I'd like to colour that. As you can probably notice, I have coloured all of the pages now that are kind of where it's the animal made up of like the leaves and the flowers, because those are my favourite pages of hers. So yeah, that was my very first one. And yeah, it has a lot of fond memories. If I'd not bought this book, if I'd not, you know, got into it, if I'd not, you know, started enjoying it, wouldn't be doing adult colouring still today. So this one will always hold a special place in my collection, even if I don't necessarily colour in it again. So the newest book that I've bought is Johanna Basford's Wonderful Wildflowers. Now, to be honest, I could have sworn that I'd cancelled my pre-order for this. I pre-ordered it when I saw that she'd got a new one out. Then when I realised it was out in November, I thought, oh, actually, that might be a good one to save, you know, to not buy yet. Perhaps somebody might want to get it me for Christmas because it'll be easy enough to pick up from an actual shop. You know, they wouldn't need to special order it from anywhere. Could have sworn I'd cancelled my pre-order, and then I got the notification from Amazon going, oh, your book's been dispatched. And I was like, what book? Husband was chuckling, going, oh, don't pull that one. You know you've ordered something. I was like, no, I haven't. Looked back on Amazon and went, oh, I could have sworn I'd cancelled that. But obviously I hadn't. It had already been dispatched. So yes, I could return it. But I was like, oh, I can't be bothered with that because it is a book I would like. So, you know, I've just got it a little bit earlier than I'd initially intended. I must admit, I've looked through this and kind of compared it to World of Flowers. And I do want to do a dedicated video, you know, flipping through this one and talking about my thoughts. Well, I don't know. It's nice. And I do really, I think my favourite pages in here are, I can find them, are the animal pages. So you've got the panda. So you've got the bird. It's the little chipmunk. I'd say squirrel, but I don't think the tail's long enough, so I'm going chipmunk. And there is there a fox? No, there's another bear page. That was it. So my daughter's flagged that page for me to maybe be my first one to colour when I get around to starting in this book. So I do like it. Like, that one's really pretty. But I don't know. It's not my favourite. This, I might well do this in December possibly, because I could see this really working in like a blue colour scheme and almost making them look like snowflakes. That was kind of my first thought when I looked at it. I thought, oh, they're funny looking flowers. And I thought, hang on a minute, if I coloured them the right colours, that could look almost like snowflakes potentially. So yeah, it's a pretty book. I do really like that one. I'd like to colour that at some point and colour it like our bunny Dora, because I think that would look sweet. She does have sticky up ears. She's not a lop, so it would work for her. So yeah, I've not coloured in it yet because obviously it's literally only just come last week now, I guess. So yeah, glad to have it in my collection. I have got all of her books, I think, apart from Rooms of Wonder, because there's only a few pages that I know I would colour in that one. Most of the pages, they're far too detailed. They're really not for me. Whereas I could see myself colouring a fair few out of this one at some point. So, you know, going to keep it. So then question 3 is the most colourful page you've completed. So I kind of scratched my head a bit on this one because I thought, oh gosh, I've done an awful lot of pages and I don't really know off the top of my head which is the most colourful. I kind of racked my brains a bit and then thought back to when I've done flip throughs of kind of some of my earliest books, you know, to put videos up on the channel of like my Johanna Basford, my Millie Maratta, Lulu Mayo and other ones. And I thought, I'm sure there's a book that's got a really wacky, colourful animal, but I couldn't remember what it was. Vaguely remembered it was Millie Maratta. So I looked through my early Millie Maratta ones, realised it wasn't out of Animal Kingdom, that it was from Tropical Wonderland. And to me, I think my most colourful page that I've coloured is this one. Now, it is definitely not my best page. It is definitely not my favourite page, but I would say it is definitely my most colourful page. Like, wow, you would see this owl a mile off in the dark, wouldn't you? I vaguely remember picking up a handful of gel pens and just going to town. Like, I was probably watching TV, not really thinking about what it was going to look like at the end, and just quite enjoyed the process. So I do kind of like the fact that I've managed to stick to like the pink and the blue around the edge, and you know, you can see there's a bit of bit of thought process there, but the colours really don't go together, do they? And it is ridiculously bright. I do like the sparkle though. So yeah, from the looks of it, this was all gel pen. Paper's not too bad. I mean, I had coloured this, I've coloured this side as well. It doesn't look as if anything bled through, but yeah, that is definitely my most colourful page. Definitely not my best work, but this was, again, very, very early colouring, because this book is, there we go, 10 years old, this book, because it was bought with money from my 30th birthday. So yeah, it is rather old colouring now, but yeah, a lot of fun was had. There's quite a few bright pages in here, but yeah, that one is definitely, I can't find it now. There it is. That one is definitely my brightest page, I think, that I've ever coloured, but yes, definitely not my best. But yeah, got to be honest. So there we go. Now, the most relaxing book to colour in, that was the one that kind of got my head, scratching. I was like, I don't know, because all of my colouring books I find relaxing to work in, especially if you've picked the right book with the right medium for what your mood is. Like, whatever you're colouring can be relaxing. So I chatted with my daughter a bit, and she was like, do you think it'd be one of your cute and cosy books? So I went, yeah, possibly, because that is kind of the books that I kind of think about the least. Not to say that I don't care about what they look like, but I think there's a bag of pens, my markers there. I'd grab some and I'll just go for it. So I was like, well, I don't know which is my most relaxing out of my cute and cozy. So at my daughter's suggestion, she was like, well, have a look at what percentage you've got completed and go for the cute and cozy one that you've done the most pages in. I was like, that sounds like a grand plan. So we settled on the fact that it was Fuzzy Meowvies is my most relaxing book to colour in, because I have coloured the most in this. So I've done kind of the little title pages. I mean, I suppose technically they do count, don't they? And then I have coloured this one, which was my first ever cute and cosy page that I coloured. I remember having a lot of fun, having a play, getting used to the cute and cosy style and the paper and how my markers worked. I had a lot of fun doing that. And then I have also done this one that was in the summer. Love all the glitter on that one. And I think looking through the pictures, like, it's my favourite Fuzzy Meowvie one. I think because there is a lot of kind of Disney and Marvel kind of pages. But yeah, I don't know. I think also it's the fact it's cats. It's kind of detailed, but it's not too detailed. Like, there's not massive expanses where you've really got to worry about, your markers starting to go streaky. But, it equally isn't too fiddly. I've got some cute and cozy ones which are surprisingly detailed and not always the easiest to do with alcohol markers, whereas I think this one, it's kind of got a nice balance. I do need to make sure that I look through all of my cute and cozy books and work out what Christmas pages there are, because it would be nice to maybe get some of those done in December. But side note, of something that I need to get going with. So yeah, I think I could have picked any of my cute and cozy books. Kind of a strong contender was kind of the Cozy Hawaii one, because I think I've only done that page and kind of the ones at the front. But, it's kind of summer holiday, sunshine, warmth kind of vibe. So that's obviously quite relaxing as well. But going by percentage completed, had to be that one as being my, most relaxing book to colour in. Because, yeah, alcohol markers, just, a bit of thought in it, but not as much as when you you're using pencils and you've got to think of your colours and what colours are you going to use, and you've got to sharpen them, and then, my pencil's broken, and sharpen it again. Like your markers, yes, I do think about it, but definitely don't think about it half as much as I do with my pencils, because I don't normally worry about blending or anything. The most I do is wait till it's dried, and then I'll go in with the same pen and just do another layer, so that you're just adding a subtle shadow, and maybe gel pen and a bit of paint or something. But yeah, I'd say that's my most relaxing book to colour in. Now, my most detailed, challenging book, as I've already mentioned, I'm not necessarily a fan of kind of super fiddly things to colour anyway, so I tend to not buy books that have got loads and loads of detailed pages. Probably like one of my most detailed ones is kind of Ivy and the Ink Butterfly, because there is some really fiddly pages and that, but there's a lot of really simple pages, so I didn't go for that one. I went for this one because it has got a lot of detail, but also I feel like this is probably my most challenging book. So it's the Forest Girls colouring book by APOL. It's the only one that I've got in this series, and I bought it in the summer, and I still haven't coloured in it because I still haven't worked out kind of which page to do or how to colour it or anything. But the artwork's so gorgeous, you know, if it takes me a while, like that, look at that. Also the fact that it's really light line work, which I'd thought was intentional so that when you coloured it, you wouldn't see the line work. But then I think it was Jodie at JI Colourist commented on, it must have been my flip through that I shared of this, and I'm sure she mentioned something about it being an issue with the printers, so not too sure on that one. I mean, that would make sense, but equally I can see that there is the benefit of once you've coloured it, you know, you're not going to have really dark lines showing through. But yeah, like, look, there's so many books on the shelves. But yeah, I think the fact that it is light line work obviously just kind of makes it work, you know, a bit difficult to work out what's what. I do really like that page as well, and that is one of the less detailed pages. I don't know whether I'll get to that in December. Need to work up the courage, I think, to work in this book. So I know there was one page that I thought was not as daunting like that one. There's a lot going on and I can't necessarily work out what's what on that. Which, whether I just end up giving like a wash of colour with, you know, watercolours or something, and then just picking out some details with pencils. Don't know. I'm sure there was a page with like leaves or something on, or petals. I can't remember. I'm sure there was one. I won't be able to find it now, will I? That looked a little bit less detailed. Nah, that was it, I think. Might have been. I don't think it was that one though. Remember it had leaves floating in it, but I'm sure I remember them being larger. I think it was that one, because it's got like big leaves in kind of the background, and then there's only really the characters to do. So I don't know. Yeah, I think there's a reason that I've not coloured in this one yet. But like I say, I mean, the artwork, like, just look how cute it is. There's so much detail in it, which is why it looks absolutely gorgeous. But that is kind of what is putting me off colouring it. Like, it just seems quite challenging to me. But I think I really need to be in the mood for doing something fiddly and really focusing, and I'm just not in that headspace at the minute. I just kind of need things that are a little bit simpler that I've not got to think about, because such a busy time of the year, isn't it? We've got a lot going on with work. Obviously Christmas is coming up, you know, maybe in the new year. Hopefully I will get to that one. Definitely going to colour in it at some point, because it is a gorgeous book, and, you know, it'll be lovely to have a page coloured. And I'm sure once I've started, it won't be quite as scary as I'm thinking. A bit like with Kirby pages, but we'll see. Then I thought, for the most unique art style, that's question 6, kind of had to go for Karolina Kubikowska, because I thought a lot of my other artists are a little bit more mainstream. Yes, their style is unique to them, but it's not necessarily, you know, it's not super unique. Whereas I thought this is just so different. It's just so quirky. So we've got Imaginary Friends here, which I was very lucky that my husband ordered for me for my birthday. And it's just so different. Like, a little bit creepy, but not too creepy. You know, like, the people quite often will have like weird things on their head, or, I mean, that was actually pretty straightforward, isn't it? Do you love that cat one? But quite often the people have got like eyeballs on their forehead, or do you love this one as well? Like, that's just a little bit spooky looking, isn't it? Yeah, like, has she got a bird on her head? Has she got wings growing out of her head? Don't know what's going on there. Like, just so different. And you know what? I've just realised, actually, there's a later on question that I've gone with. Oh, I don't think I've got a book for that. And it's just occurred to me that I think I do, because I'm sure one question. Yes, the favourite grayscale colouring book. I have come up with an answer, but actually I guess this is grayscale, isn't it? Because I've been thinking, I don't think I have got a grayscale book, but yes, I do. I'd forgotten about all the shading that was on these. Like, look, she's got the other eyeball there. It's just so different, so unique. Do you love that one that was off the front cover, isn't it? Like, it's teeth and eyes and all sorts in those flowers. Like, at first glance you look and you think, oh, those pretty flowers, but they're kind of not. So yeah, there's just some. So I'll go from the back now. They are just so cool and unusual and different and definitely unique. Obviously not the easiest to get hold of. I believe you can buy so that's the one that I've done. Did all watercolours on that, a little bit of gel pen, and that was it. Had a lot of fun doing that, actually. Like the faces and things on the mushrooms. But yeah, I believe that you can buy pages that you can print off her Etsy, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And then obviously she has got physical books as well. I know certainly in the UK they are not the easiest to get hold of. So that's Carolina Kubikowska Imaginary Friends for my most unique art style question. So I will link as many things as I can down in the description below. They will probably be Amazon affiliate links wherever possible, which if you purchase through them won't cost you anything extra, but it does help to support the channel a little bit. So the book that I've coloured in the most is this one, which is why you can see that there's so much wax paper poking out of it. So according to the percentage off my bookshelf app, I think I've done 20 pages, which puts me at about 43% done. So this is the first spooky colouring book by Sarah Sheshik, and I've done such a lot in this one. So I've got that page done that one. So I did used to take part in the monthly hashtag that Christina's Art Corner used to, well, she still does do a hashtag for this artist, but it's for the new spooky book. But yeah, I did used to take part each month in the page that she used to pick for this. So that's kind of one reason why I've got so many done. But also it's such a lovely book. It's single-sided. So once I'd got alcohol markers, I started using alcohol markers, which obviously speeded the process up. So I think this was one of the first pages I did with alcohol markers. So I was just having a bit of a play. Had a bit of a play with the markers in the background. It didn't quite come out how I wanted to, but it was fun to try something new. So yeah, I've got an awful lot done. Would be nice to get this finished one day, because obviously I'm nearly halfway. And some of the images, I mean, obviously this one would take a while because it is quite a full image, but some of them are a little bit smaller. So I don't think it would be too, I mean, that's again is another detailed one as I'm saying that. If there are a few that are less detailed still left to do, which is kind of looking like there's not. Oh, that one actually, depending on what I did in the background, that isn't too, there's not too much there to do. Oh, that one, I love all the sparkle on that one. That's all watercolour paint there. Gorgeous. That wouldn't be too bad. So yeah, there's still a few. Again, that one wouldn't take too long to do. So had quite a bit of a play with watercolours in the background in this book on some of the pages, because with it being single-sided, obviously it didn't matter if it bled through. I kind of feel like with the style of the book as well, you can just kind of have a bit of a play. I love the background on that one as well. That was just chalk pastel. It didn't take long at all to do, but I love that page. And obviously some of the last ones aren't too detailed. I do like that one as well, having a little chill. And then obviously done that one at the end. I do still have that one to colour. So yeah, absolutely love that book. So I don't know, I'm considering if I'm going to set myself any targets for 2026, because I've never really done that before. But I'm kind of considering it, and if I do set myself any targets, it might be not necessarily to finish this one, but to get a considerable chunk of it done, rather than aiming to finish it. So then, you know, if I can get another 20% done on it, which wouldn't be too many more pages, you know, that would be really, you know, really useful to getting me towards getting it finished. I don't know, something that I'm just considering at the minute, what I might want to try and do for next year. So yeah, that is the one that I've coloured in the most, partly because the paper is great, partly because it's single-sided, mainly because the artwork is absolutely gorgeous, and just so easy to colour, and you've not got to worry about it making it look realistic. You can just go wild with the colours. You know, thoroughly recommend both of the books, because there is the other one which is behind me. So that's the first one, and then this is obviously the new one. So it has got the same kind of characters in, but obviously they're on a magical journey, and you know, they get up to all sorts of different things. So yeah, I really recommend both of them, but that is the book that I've coloured in the most in my collection. Now, number 8 is the book you love but you haven't coloured in yet. So it just had to be this one, because I'm still in shock, even though this is a few months after, because I got this in August. Still can't believe I own it. Really can't believe I own it. Really can't believe that I didn't have to pay over the odds for it. It's just, well, it's Mouse Guard, isn't it? And I'm just, yeah, absolutely love it, but still haven't coloured in it. I will definitely be colouring in it, but yeah, not in any rush, because, you know, let's face it, I can't get another copy, and I don't want to kind of go wrong on any of the pages, because I just love the artwork. Like, it's just so pretty as it is. So yeah, I don't know, still kind of work out what page I might do first. I'm wondering whether, you know, something a bit simpler, just so that I can feel, you know, get a feel for what pencils I like using on the paper. So I know it's useful listening to what other people use, but obviously depending on what hand pressure you use, depends on what you might kind of prefer using. So I don't know. There's so many gorgeous ones. I do really like the smaller ones as well in the kind of in the boxes. So don't know. Need to work out what I'm going to do. You know, from what I've heard in people's videos, you know, that the paper's really good and it can withstand, you know, quite a lot of different mediums. So yeah, I think I just need to be brave and dive in at some point, even if it's just to colour something like that, just so that I can feel like, right, I've made a start. Not going to be quite so scary to get going. You know, I mean, there's even just that little motif there, but I don't know. Like I say, it's still just in shock about the fact that I own it. It's on a very special place up on one of my bookshelves, and I'm super careful if I'm putting a book in my bookshelf near it, because I'm like, I don't want to damage it. Like, it's just so precious to me. So yeah, that's the book that I love but I haven't coloured in yet. That was question 8. Then question 9 is the book that you would save in a fire, like your sentimental favourite. I kept going round and round in circles for this one, because I thought, well, do I go for the book that was my, you know, my oldest book in my collection, the one I very first coloured in? And I was like, I don't know if I'd be bothered about saving that. Like, don't get me wrong, if I had the option, I would save all of my books, obviously. But, you know, you can't. If there's a fire, if you were just grabbing one book, which would I grab? I was like, I don't know, because most of my books I can replace, you know, they're still available for sale, or I could get them even if I had to pay slightly more, but not ridiculously amounts more, because I've only got a few books that are kind of out of print. And then I thought, well, do I go for Mouse Guard for being the book I would save? And I was like, well, quite possibly, you know, because I know that I couldn't get another one. But then I thought, if I'm thinking my sentimental favourite, I'm like, I don't know. Like, this I would be saving because I know I can't replace it. Whereas all my other books, pretty certain I could replace them. So I ended up deciding in the end to go for Ivy and the Inky Butterfly, because obviously Spooky is the one that I've coloured in the most, but then this is the book that I've coloured in kind of the next most, so to speak. It's my second most coloured in book. This is one book I would at some point like to have finished. Again, I'm wondering whether I set myself a target for next year of completing, I don't know, 6 pages in it or something. Like, I'm not going to say a page a month, and I'm certainly not going to say that I'm going to aim to finish it next year because I've still got quite a lot to do. But, you know, I would like to have it finished at some point. So, you know, I need to do a bit more in it. So it is a bit like, well, I think this is my sentimental favourite because I've got so many memories of colouring all of the different pages. Like, I can remember when I first got the book, getting my water-based markers out and working on here. You know, I got Pentel dual hybrid pens, wanted to have a play, so I did that bit. You know, there's just a lot of pages that I can really vividly remember colouring. We're getting to ones that are a little bit more recent now, that I did on a holiday kind of last year and this year. So we're up to the ones that I did this year now. So I have got, you know, I have got a fair bit done of it. I think it's like, I don't know, 27% or something, I think, off the top of my head for this one. Like, there is still quite a bit to do. So that, obviously, you can see is a whip. Completed that one. And I don't think I've done those. And I think the only other bit I've done, here we go, was that one, because I've kind of cheated on holiday, skipped forward and thought, oh, I'm going to colour one of the really simple pages because I just couldn't face doing another really big page, to be honest. I actually quite like the colours I used on that one. So I've still got an awful lot left to do. But yeah, I do think this is a sentimental favourite because I'd be gutted if I had to start again on this one. Like I say, it's a book that I would like to have finished at some point. I say probably not anytime soon, but I would love to have it finished one day. So it's like, well, if I saved this one, I've got all the progress that I've done, and I've got, like I say, I've got so many memories of colouring the pages that I have done, especially because I've been taking it on holiday with me kind of the last year or two. So I kind of can remember the place we were staying in and the country we were in and what we were up to. So yeah, I think lots of lovely memories attached to this book, making it my sentimental favourite for question 9. Then for question 10, the book with the best paper quality. I ummed and ahed on this one as well because I thought, well, do I go for one of my earlier Hannah Carlson books? Because they do have amazing paper. And definitely could have picked any of those ones, you know, the larger format ones. But then I thought, actually, probably this one. I have used a lot of different materials on this paper, and I just love it. I've had such good results in working in this book. So I'm going for Fairy Tales and Folklore by Emily Lyda Hall Oberg as being the book that I think I own that has got the best paper quality. I said could have gone for a Hannah Carlson one of the older, larger format ones. But like I know, I've used gel pen on here, I've used watercolour pencil, I've used acrylic marker. Absolutely no bother on the back there, no ghosting or anything. And that one, paper's got a bit stuck. I've used watercolour paint in the background to add the, you know, one of, what's the word? The watercolours that split. Granulating, that's the word. Granulated watercolours in the background. I've used shiny, you know, gel pens, watercolour paint on the details, and absolutely nothing on the back. It's barely even. I put quite a bit of water as well for the granulating paint, and it's not really wrinkled the page or anything there. that one was mainly watercolour pencils and a bit of gel crayon. Again, nothing's come through on the back. Watercolour pencils, gel pens again on here. Again, no buckling. I'm always trying to be careful with how much water I use when I use my watercolour pencils, but even then in some books they still get a bit wrinkly. Again, I've used watercolour pencils. It's what I tend to do in this book, as you've noticed. Gel pens, splattered a bit of watercolour paint. I've used watercolour paint on the little flags. Again, absolutely no bother on the background, and the pencils work really nicely on the paper, and then they activate really nicely. Even though I don't have like the most amazing watercolour pencils, I have the Arteza ones, so they're not bad, but you know, they're obviously not high-end ones. Again, I've used all of those same kind of materials on these bits with no problem. And again, in the front, used all those same things: gel pens, some paint, watercolour pencils, and again, haven't had any issues whatsoever. So that, I think, is my book that has got the best quality paper in. So then my favourite grayscale colouring book. This is the one that I thought, oh, I haven't got a grayscale colouring book. Then realised, obviously, this one that I showed you earlier does have grayscale in it, so I suppose I do have a grayscale book. But the book that I had picked out for my favourite grayscale colouring book was Fragile World by Kirby Rosands. Now, I suppose it's sort of grayscale, but not quite proper grayscale. But I don't really own any grayscale books. It's not really my cup of tea. This is kind of the closest I've got, because obviously he does add quite a bit of shading, so I was kind of counting that as grayscale, even though I kind of feel like it's sort of cheating because it's not grayscale like I've seen, you know, other people sharing. But there, you know, he has added a lot of shading in, so I guess it counts. Do love that one. And I know on the pages that I have completed, I've not had to worry too much about the shading. I've used Inktense pencils and a tiny bit of shading, but nothing major, and it still turned out brilliantly because he's added so much texture and patterning in already. It's like I've done that one as well, and another one as well near the front. I love that one. The little faces are so cute, aren't they? Where is it? Here it is. And I did the frogs. This was the first one I did in this book. So again, I did do a bit more shading on this one. I think I went in quite a bit with my Prismacolor pencil, especially on the leaves. But, you know, you can still see the line work that he's added is showing through. So I'm counting it as a grayscale colouring book. And yeah, this is my favourite grayscale colouring book. So the next question is question 12, and that is the book that intimidates you, which is this one. I've only recently got, never seen it before, to be honest. Found it on Vinted, as I found so many cool things this year. So it's one of the Pictora ones. I've seen the monster one on a few people's channels, but never seen this one before. So this one's Draconis, obviously dragons from the front of the cover, and it's amazing. But I'm just a little bit intimidated because I just don't quite sure, you know, how do I approach it? What do I do? And I was talking on a recent live stream about this being one of the ones that I'm just, you know, it's so big. Should have really included this in my biggest books, I guess, because area-wise it possibly is, I suppose. I don't know. I need to work out what colour I want the dragons, I think. Once I've sussed that, hopefully the rest will fall into place. I don't know whether to do red or green. Somebody suggested maybe I could go for rainbow ones, and then I could go for a different colour on each kind of panel. I don't know. Really don't know. So this one's definitely intimidates me. I think once I get going, it will be fine. And obviously it's, although it's long, it's obviously not actually got all that many pages. So it wouldn't take, you know, there's only what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 6. Double check. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, there we are, it's folded. I thought it was more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 little panels. So, you know, once you've started, and obviously there's kind of separate sections, but it does kind of lead one into the other. So there is a bit of carryover before you move into like the next scene. So I don't know. I've never coloured anything like this before. You know, generally, obviously, colouring books, each page separate. I've done some, like Ivy and the Inky Butterfly, where obviously there's a character repeated through, but each page is very different still. So, yeah, I don't know. Never tackled anything like this before. I'm sure once I get going, it'll be fine and it'll all come together. And I never can remember how it folds back in. I think that's the way. There we go. So yeah, that is definitely the one that intimidates me the most. So that's number 12. Let's double check my list. So 13, the book that I would love to finish one day. So I have actually already mentioned one of them. And that's Ivy and the Inky Butterfly. I've had this one for absolutely years. I don't know. So where is the publication date for this one? I don't know. Is it in the back? Oh, I can't find it. Anyway, had this book for absolutely years. I've got a fair way, you know, got a good chunk done, as I showed you earlier, but still an awfully long way to go. I mean, I've not really, other than colouring the butterfly, there's all this back section still to do. So would love to finish that one day. And then this one is a much more recent addition to my collection. But again, it's a storybook one, so I would love to have it finished one day because I just think that would be really cool. It's obviously a very different sort of storybook. It's really precious to me as well because I won it on a competition that Colour with Claire ran, and it's signed, and yeah, it's just amazing. So I've got a page flagged because I have got a buddy colour set up for this page, which once it gets started won't be too long to do. So yeah, I still haven't done that. I've still got the pencils and the pens in a pot so that when I want to, I can carry on and colour just the hair and the face through. Like on this next page, it's got her hand. Don't know what colour to do the nail polish yet. I'm thinking possibly nice shiny red nails to match her hair. So I might use a glaze pen or some shiny paint perhaps, because I would like it to match through the book. And obviously I've got a few glaze pens in, but I don't know if it would be enough to do all of the book. I'm not sure. So yeah, I would love to have this finished one day, but obviously it is very chunky book. I've had it a few months and, you know, haven't exactly made much of a dent in it. So don't know. Again, this is one I'm considering along with Ivy to kind of, they are my kind of unofficial project books, but I'm wondering whether to set myself some kind of target of how much to get done in them next year, whether I'm not going to aim to get them finished at all, whether I just aim for, you know, I don't know, 6 pages or something, 10 pages in Ivy and the Inky Butterfly, and if I get more done, great. And then whether in this one I just aim for potentially just trying to get the characters done, because the characters are on a lot of pages, but then equally that would still leave a lot of the page not coloured, you know, like the full floors, the walls, you know, and anything else. If I coloured the characters that are repeated, maybe that would be a good chunk of the book done and be a bit, I don't know. I need to work out how much I want to get done in that next year. But yeah, that's kind of something kind of hoping for. So they're one of the questions that I have been a bit naughty and picked 2 books for. So yeah, they are both 2 books that I would love to finish one day. Then for the best book for practicing new techniques, and ummed and ahed a bit on that one, because I've used quite a few different books to try different new techniques. I don't always stick to just one book, but then when I thought, I think in a lot of my Hannah Carlson I have been a bit more experimental with kind of paints and things. So I had a look through Jewellery Box and actually have done quite a few bits in here. I still need to do the title pages, but like here, just use all watercolour paints. They were new ones that I had. I think these ones were from Dracula. At least most of them were, maybe not all of them. So did that, and then used a white acrylic pen to go over some of the lines, to bring them back the details, use a black pen to add bits back in. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that, and it didn't go through. You can see here what I tried on the next page did go through a little bit, but that was more me being a bit messy at the bottom, and then it's kind of seeped up from the other side, if that's made sense. But it was this page, and I had so much fun using the granulating paint, splattered on, and then I used some They're not stickles. I find them in my drawer. I can never remember what they are. Like the opal liquid pearl things. I'm in like bottles that look like stickles, but they're not stickles. So I added those on, used a load of glitter gel pens. Just had a lot of fun playing on that one. Obviously, it has gone through a little bit, but I kind of figured if I did this page at any point, I could just, you know, black out the background and that wouldn't really be a problem, because it's not really affected the image too much. And then what else have I had a play at in here? On this one, again, I've used Inktense, I've used gel pens, I used, I think it was gel crayons in the background, some paints on the little jewels. So again, lots of different mediums there, and different kind of colour scheme as well. Then I've done this one, which was watercolour pencils, and then gel pens and watercolour paints. Lots of sparkle in there, and chalk pastel for the background. So again, even more different mediums used. And again, the paper's just amazing. I think that's the last thing I've tried in that. So we've not done a huge amount in this, but I've definitely had a good play with my supplies in this book and tried a lot of different things. So I'd say that is probably the book that I've done the most kind of experimenting in terms of the types of mediums I've used. Although lately, obviously, if you've been following the channel, excuse me, I'm going to have to let my cat in because he's meowing and meowing at the door. I think he wants to put an appearance in. Come on, I want to say hello to everybody. Come on then. Shall we give a wave to the camera? Here we go. Here's Monty. He can photobomb. Hi. There we go. He's a happy boy now. What was I saying? So yes, if you've been following the channel, you'll know I've got my Winging It Wednesday videos where I have, oh, don't knock the camera there, you cheeky chops, where I have been trying lots of different things, and obviously that is like proper experimenting there. This is more just trying lots of different mediums, but I thought this was probably the best book to show for that. Right, come on, down we go, mister. So then that was question 14. So the next one is 15. So the most affordable but great quality book. So we have got a reappearance here of this one. Sorry, got to let my cat out again. Obviously thought I was up to something really exciting or hiding some cat treats in here or something, and he's got bored and wandered off. So yeah, I kind of figured this is probably my most affordable but great quality book. Daughter kind of looked at that and she was like, oh, you're going for that one? I went, well, yeah, because I kind of thought for the price, when you compare it against the price of a Millie Marotta or a Johanna Basford or a Rita Berman, they're all kind of around about £10-ish. This one is a little bit more. I think it was like £15 or something when I looked on Amazon. But actually, you know, when you compare it to the size of a Rita Berman, and this is hardcover, this is soft cover. Obviously, the Millie Marotta and Johanna Basfords, they're a decent sized book, but again, they're not hardcover. The paper's okay in them, but I know I have had some bleed through in those books, depending on what I've tried. Whereas I've tried loads of different things in this book, as I've already shown you earlier. Not had any problem. So I think although it isn't the cheapest book, it's not the most expensive, and I think in terms of most affordable but great quality, I had to go for this one because the paper is just fabulous, gorgeous illustrations. There's a really nice mix of kind of simpler ones, more full page ones. You know, there's kind of something for everybody. I think, you know, if you like doing backgrounds, there is a few pages where there's a bit more space. So yeah, I kind of went for this one being my most affordable but great quality book. So then we've got question 16, which is the book that you would recommend to beginners. So I've actually got two for this one for two very different reasons. So I would recommend this one to people if they're wanting to use water-based markers, pencils, gel pens, anything like that, because obviously it's a lovely nice size, so you can complete a page relatively quickly without feeling, you know, like it's going to take forever. you know, there's the nice pages with the little things so you can have a play, practice blending. You know, managed to do a bit of blending on these, but they've not got massive spaces. So if you're not quite so technical and you're not quite so experienced, you haven't got to worry. You can still get a really cool effect and a lovely finished page. Paper's, you know, pretty decent. I used water-based markers on this and it didn't bleed through. Gel pens work great. So I thought this, if you're wanting to try, you know, pencils, water-based markers, gel pens, definitely would recommend that one. Whereas if you were a beginner who was wanting to try alcohol markers, I thought this one was a really good one to suggest, Fuzzy Huger, because they're really sweet illustrations, same as in all of them, but I thought it's just kind of nice because there's some spaces that are a bit bigger, but there's nothing too big, and there are some small, you know, smaller details. So even if you're not you know, feeling confident at doing like loads of different effects, you can still get a really cool, pretty page. Like this is a sneak peek of a page I completed right at the end of October, but it was after I'd recorded my October completed pages. So you see, I've not really done anything fancy there. I've done a simple glow effect, but I haven't done any other blending or anything particularly fancy, but I had a great time and it looks really cool, or at least I think so. And yeah, this just, yeah, I just think this one's, it's approachable, it's manageable. If you've never used alcohol markers before, this is going to be pretty simple to do. Not too detailed, but not too massive expanses. So if you don't want to try different techniques, you don't have to, but there is the scope to do it if you want to. So those two were my suggestions for books for beginners for question 16. So then question 17, the book that sparks your creativity. Now, I mean, I could have picked kind of any one of my books really, because I love all my books, and depending on my mood and what I fancy doing, you know, there's a book, there's an artist that'll take my fancy. But I thought actually all of Camilla D'Errico's art just kind of gets me thinking of trying something different and just having a bash, getting some colour on the paper and just having fun and just getting me in the creative mood. So I did this one. I think this one was last year. So this was water-based markers, bit of chalk pastel in the background. Just got me, you know, colouring mojo back. Did this one, I think this was the first page I did when I tried the book. So this was watercolour pencils, bit of glossy accents on the eyes. And then in the background, you use some sparkly watercolour paints, just kind of slosh that around, add a bit of something to the background because this paper's pretty good. And this one, I had a lot of fun doing this one. So I did water-based markers, but they went quite streaky. So then I went over them quite a bit with pencil, coloured the leaves in with water-based markers as well, and then thought, let's chuck something else at it. So I just smeared some stickles round. So, you know, just had a play, got creative, had fun. I love him. He looks so funny. Again, this page, water-based markers, splattered some paint in the background, bit of sparkly paint on the wings, you know, had a lot of fun again. I think that's the last one I've done in that page. Yeah, I think that's the last one I've done. I've not done the bit at the start yet. I need to do that at some point. So yeah, I could have picked any of Camilla D'Errico's books really for sparking my creativity, because yeah, just love having a go. You can just use all sorts of different colours and it's just going to still look cool because it just really suits her style. You know, they're not realistic images, so you can just, you haven't got to think about being realistic. You can just have fun and have a go and yeah, be creative. So question 18. Of my most nostalgic or childhood inspired book, I went for the Aardman one because Wallace and Gromit is, when I think of Wallace and Gromit, it just reminds me of my dad. When I was younger, he's retired now, but he was in the Navy and there was about 3 years on the run. He was stationed away quite a bit, so he used to write letters back for my mum and for me, and in mine he'd always include some stories of what Shaun the Sheep had got up to, and it just, you know, when I got this book, it just brought back all those fond memories of getting those silly stories that my dad had made up, sitting there reading them, imagining, you know, what they'd got up to. So there's a lot in here. I've not coloured a huge amount, to be honest, because it is quite a chunky one. There's 48 in this one. I'll start from the front. So I have used alcohol markers on some. So that was alcohol markers. Had fun doing that one. So kind of with the style of illustrations, I kind of went with just colouring the main bit and leaving the back bit blank because I just didn't really know what to do. Used water-based markers on that one, as you can see, and did have a go at colouring a bit of the background in. And then what else have I done? Did that one. That was water-based markers again, because this was well before I had alcohol markers, but I had a lot of fun doing it. I think I've got another. Here we go. Again, that looks like water-based markers on that one, hence the streaking. But again, had fun doing it. I think that's the only one I've done in that one, actually. Do need to come back to this one, especially now I have got alcohol markers, because I remember I had a lot of fun doing that, and it really didn't take long at all. So yeah, I want to get this book out, because again, I could just colour just those bits, leave all the background blank, and still have a great time. So yeah, it reminds me of stories that my dad told me in letters, sitting and watching it on the TV with my mum and dad. And then kind of more recently, when we've been to Blackpool as a family, me, my husband and my daughter, you know, there's the Wallace and Gromit ride at Blackpool Pleasure Beach in the UK. So I've got fond memories of going on that when my daughter was little as well. So yeah, lots of happy memories associated with Wallace and Gromit and Shaun the Sheep there. So that was my most nostalgic or childhood inspired book for question 18. So we are nearly there. It's question 19 next, which is book with the most variety of pages. So that was a tough one as well, because I thought, well, really, like most of the books, there is a variety, but obviously it's all very much the same style of the artist. And over maybe one of the eerie ones, and then in the end, actually, I thought this one by Maria Troll, the Universum one, the compilation one, probably has got the most variety in, because of it having some pages from her much earlier books and some from her more recent ones. Obviously some new illustrations as well. So there's definitely that variety in the style of how she's drawn. So you can see some are a little bit more, you know, detailed in her older kind of style, and then some are kind of newer. I won't go through all of it. So you can see, yeah, there's some that you can tell it's her, but there's definitely a variety, like this one. Obviously is ridiculously detailed and small and fiddly, whereas you've obviously got some others that are a lot simpler. It's all of her style, but it is just very different, I think, with how detailed some of them are, much more than kind of with any of my other books by other artists. So kind of for that reason, I decided that this was the one with the most variety. And also because it has got because it is a compilation, there's that variety as well, because obviously there's the different content of the pictures. That's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, I kind of thought in terms of the style of how they're drawn, that was kind of why I picked this one as being the one with the most variety of pages. So that's number 19. Then we're on to 20, a seasonal favourite. Now, I did wonder whether to go for the new one by Maria Troll, the Seasons one. And then I thought, well, actually, it is a new favourite, but I haven't actually coloured in it yet. So I kind of thought I don't really want to put it as my favourite if I haven't coloured in it. So I kind of decided in the end that one of my favourite books that I return to kind of every December is A Million Christmas Cats by John Bigwood. So although obviously it isn't a favourite spring, summer, autumn, I thought in terms of winter, Christmas time, this is a firm favourite. So I decided to go for this book for question 20. This is a much smaller book, so I will give a little quick flip. So I do normally try and get at least one page done each kind of festive period. So lots of sparkles on this. Use some watercolour glittery paint for the snow, Prismacolors and metallic watercolours on the scarves. There's a lot I haven't done still, but obviously I only colour in this kind of December, January if I'm finishing a page off. lots of paints there. They were kind of when I'd had some new paints, so I was kind of experimenting a little bit. Let's flip through a little bit. So not picked a page yet to do for this coming festive season, but I will do soon. I do love this one, although this is obviously quite a detailed double page, so don't know whether it'll be that one this year, but we'll see. Did do that one. I do wonder whether to go back at some point and kind of colour in kind of all of the borders to make that feel a bit more finished off. But I remember I just had my Graffy Tint pencils, so I coloured all of the cats with the Graffy Tint pencils actually, which worked out quite nicely. You gave some nice colours for their fur. That one does make me chuckle. And then I've done, this one took ages. I used Prismacolor, lots of glittery paint, and as you can see, I added the name of all of my cats, and they're kind of the inspiration behind the names of the different membership levels that I've got on my channel. So we've got Figaro, Luna, Monty and Amiga, and that gives you an idea there on how, you know, how they look, their colouring. Figaro and Monty are brothers. Monty's huge, and he's got much deeper colours to his ginger stripes. Figaro's tiny in comparison, and his fur colour, although he's still ginger, he's a lot lighter coloured. Obviously you see there Luna and Omega. That's the only ones I've got done in that one. I do love that one as well, so cool with the blimp there. But yeah, hopefully I'll work again in that this Christmas period. So yeah, I went for that for my seasonal favourite, because every Christmas season this is the book I always get out. Then we've got question 21, my most whimsical or fun book. So I decided to go for a Lulu Mayo one for this one and settled on A Million Magical Creatures, focusing on like the whimsical bit. So always have a lot of fun in her books, and the art style is it's just amazing. And because this is magical creatures, there's just all sorts going on in this, with fairies, bunnies with wings, you know, mermaid otters, like just such cool, you know, a seal that's a mermaid in a shell with bubbles. Like there's a lot of different things going on in this book. I mean, her style is quite quirky and cute and fun anyway, but I do think this is one of the ones with, you know, the most whimsical and different kind of illustrations. I love this with the little guinea pig. So yeah, I've got quite a few done in this one as well. Still obviously a lot left to do as always, but I've got a few done. And there's lots that every time I look through I think, oh, that'd be a cool one to do, that'd be cool to do. Yeah, that one was a lot of fun. And there's a lot that, you know, some obviously are a little bit Halloween-y, like with the pumpkin kind of ones, but the rest definitely can be done any time of the year. I mean, that could be done as like a spring page, an autumn page with all those leaves. And then we've got that one there. So yeah, I picked this one in the end for my most whimsical or fun books. I've had a lot of fun doing all of these pages. So you chucked lots of sparkle, pencils, water-based markers, all sorts of these pages. And the paper's done all right, actually. I know on this one, I used watercolour paints on all of the bubbles, and absolutely fine on the back. So yeah, A Million Magical Creatures by Lulu Mayo was my pick for question 21, the most whimsical or fun book. Then number 22 is the most realistic or nature inspired book. So I decided in the end to go for Leon's Journey by Kanoko Igusa, although I could have really picked any book that's by Kanoko Igusa. And that was kind of an easy pick really, because most of my other books, there is a lot of nature in, but it's quite kind of stylized. You know, it's not drawn realistically, whereas this obviously is relatively, you know, it is realistic, isn't it? Although there's not like an index on which plants or flowers or anything it is on the pages, but they are definitely drawn realistically, I'd say. And definitely nature inspired, because there's just so many plants and animals and outdoor kind of scenes in this book. I've done a couple of pages in this one. So I have done that one. That one was done on a live stream earlier on this year. Had a lot of fun with that one. Really like how that turned out. It's the expression on his face that cracks me up on that page. And then I have done, still want to do the title page, but I have done this page with all the characters, and I have written down all the colours that I've used so that I can refer back to it, and then when they appear in the book I can use the same colours, which will make it a little bit easier. So yeah, that I would say is my most realistic colouring book that I've got, because yeah, most, you know, I've got a lot of Millie Marotta, Johanna Basford, Hannah Carlson, Clara Markova, all sorts of other ones, Eerie, but they're kind of, you know, they're obviously nature inspired, but definitely not hitting the realistic bit. Whereas I figured this one is a lot more realistic. And then you might be pleased to know, because this video is obviously rather long, we're on to the last question, 23. The book you have ignored the longest, that is uncoloured. So I am pretty good generally at keeping up to date with colouring in books. So this book, I believe I bought in May, I think. And this is the one that I've had for the longest, because pretty much everything I think now that I had for my birthday in June, I've coloured in. The other ones that I haven't coloured in yet are ones that I picked up in August on holiday, or since I've been back in like September, October, or, you know, obviously this month as well. So this is definitely the one that I've had the longest, that's been uncoloured. Not really for any particular reason. I think the thing is I've just bought new books, and obviously the ones that I'd had as birthday presents in June, I thought, right, I need to colour in those because they're birthday presents. So then this one just kept being put back to, you know, the back of the pile, so to speak. I got this one second hand off Vinted, didn't pay too much for it. The only bit that's coloured in it, and this wasn't done by me, was here. So I am planning on getting this this page coloured in November. I'm hoping. Trying to work out, my daughter has got some kind of patterned paper. So she has said perhaps we could sit and have a look, and I could see if there's something that I think that might work for a butterfly shape, and then I might add another butterfly there to cover over that flower and leaves, I think, so that then I can colour the rest kind of pretty pink blossoms is what I'm picturing. Or if not, I'll put, I don't know, some stickers. I know my daughter's got a lot of stickers, so I might be able to borrow some stickers off her or something to cover that bit up. The alternative is kind of doing an acrylic background, but I'm not sure as I can be bothered to paint such a big area. I could try oil pastels, but I don't think that would cover over that. So I don't know. And yeah, I thought, well, I could do the flowers red, but I just don't see them as red. So I think that's another reason that I haven't got around to colouring in this book yet. I know I could colour any other page in this book, but I kind of feel like I want to finish this page off, and then I could choose something else in it. So yeah, hopefully this page you will see in my November completed pages, and then I won't have this book being ignored any longer. But yeah, I just need to work out what to do for that, because I do like the purple, and I like the kind of peachy pink colour, but I think if that side was coloured the same as this side, I'd go with it. But it's the fact that they're both coloured differently that, yeah, I don't know. I need to work out what I'm going to do so that I can get a colour scheme that I'm happy with on this page. So yeah, it might be a bit collage, because that was suggested when I showed this book previously, and I think that would be a fun idea. I've never tried it before, so it could well end up being on a Winging It Wednesday video possibly. So keep a lookout, maybe. I don't know. Depends what I decide to do. So yes, that is my last book then, the book that I've ignored the longest, for question 23. So thank you very much if you've watched to the end. Perhaps you could drop an emoji in the comments of the books. And I learned there's like a little book emoji. Maybe you can put that in so I can see who's watched right to the end. Thank you for bearing with me. Obviously, I'll just repeat again the people that I've tagged. Obviously, no pressure. You may have already been tagged. Maybe you already recorded your video and I've just not noticed it yet. YouTube is a busy place. But it was Colouring with Amy, Little Hobby Nook, Pebbles Adult Colouring, and I'll obviously link them down below if you want to check their channels out. And thank you again to Jess at Colouring Bumblebee for tagging me, and obviously big thank you to Shell's Colouring Journey for just coming up with this tag in the first place, because I find it really interesting listening to everybody else's videos and learning a little bit more about their collection without having to see all of the collection. You know, you're seeing 23 or so books, and it's just kind of a nice little sneak peek, isn't it, into kind of everybody's thoughts, and especially finding out the first book that people got, their oldest book, and things like that. It's just been really interesting. So big thank you to Shell for sorting this out for us all. Obviously, if you have a channel and you've not been tagged, just feel free to have a go, and then just make sure that you tag Shell at Shell's Colouring Journey. So again, thank you very much for watching. Obviously, please click that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. It is much appreciated. It makes a big difference to YouTubers, you know, just to help our videos get seen. So thank you again. Take care, everyone, and I'll catch you in the next one.